How's it going, everybody? Dieter here. Just wanted to do a quick hit because Ceedee Lamb just got paid so much money. 100 million guaranteed, 136 over 4 years. This has pretty significant repercussions for the 49ers negotiations with Brandon Aiyuk, if you could even call them negotiations. Let's just start with Ceedee Lamb. He is unquestionably an outstanding wide receiver. I want to preface everything I'm about to say with that statement. He's really, really good. He is also a guy who got 98 targets in the slot last year, okay? And only 84 on the outside. I'm not saying he's a bad receiver. What I am saying is he's a guy who came into the league skinny, remains skinny, sometimes has some issues with press coverage on the outside. What did the Cowboys do? They schemed it so that he went inside. And now they're going to pay him as much money as anyone not named Justin Jefferson in the NFL. I understand why Dallas is doing it. It's not to say it's justified, just to say I understand it. Jerry Jones, he's all in on whatever it is they got going on there. But when you have Justin Jefferson at 4 years, 140, DJ Moore at 4 years and 110, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, and it's a bit of a wonky contract, but 4 years, 120. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a guy who, like Ceedee Lamb, spends a lot of his time in the slot. If I'm Brandon Aiyuk, I'm looking at this and saying, we're going to need 9 figures guaranteed right now. And if I'm the 49ers, I say, it's been a good run. We will deal with this at the end of the season. I don't think you can justify paying Brandon Aiyuk what the market says Brandon Aiyuk is worth. And we had a pretty good understanding of what that market was when the 49ers allowed Aiyuk and his representative to go out and seek trades. And we saw that New England was very willing to give Brandon Aiyuk top of the line dollars to come and play for the Patriots. Brandon Aiyuk said, not that interested in that. Cleveland was reportedly interested in giving him top of the line dollars. Pittsburgh, it's a bit, well, I don't know if they're in or out when it comes to paying him 30 or more million. We know the 49ers are out. Even as they've upped offers, it's been generous but not substantial. Like it just hasn't gotten to where Brandon Aiyuk wants it to be. In all respect to Brandon Aiyuk, this is going to be the biggest contract of your career. Go out and get as much money as you can. But for the 49ers, with Brock Purdy's contract coming down the line, with a contract to Trent Williams that simply has to get done, Trent Williams will not show up to work without a new contract, so you better pay him what he wants, or this season is over before it starts. When you're dealing with Christian McCaffrey on a new contract, I think I said Kittle already, you got Fred Warner on a big contract. You got Nick Bosa making top dollar. And then, of course, Brock Purdy coming down the line with maybe a $60 million contract. Keep an eye on what Dak Prescott gets from the Cowboys, because that might mess up the market even more than it was already going to be messed up. There's just only so much money that can go around. And for the 49ers, who don't get it to their outside receivers as much as maybe they should, and certainly not as much as other teams do, and for a guy like Brandon Aiyuk, who there is some question if he is of this true upper echelon. Depends on where you set the line. An unquestionably outstanding receiver, but he's a second-team All-Pro, not a first-team All-Pro. And at a certain point, this wide receiver market has to be called what it is. It's a bubble. This is outpacing, in terms of value, any logic whatsoever. We live in the golden age of wide receivers. The college game doesn't produce much at a high level anymore. You can maybe argue quarterbacks are coming in at a higher level these days, but it's unquestionable that wide receivers are coming in at an incredible rate. And the hit rate on these rookie and second-year wide receivers, the guys coming in through the college ranks, are incredible. Think about just the guys who have signed contracts, right? Like, it's not as if they're giving dudes on second and third deals these massive deals. These are guys coming off of rookie deals. They've already proven they're the best of the best in the league after 2 or 3 years. Jamar Chase will be next. And if I'm the 49ers, I look at this and say, it's a luxury we can't afford. We'd love to have Brandon Aiyuk. We set a price on what we think we can pay Brandon Aiyuk that's commensurate to his services, but we're not going to keep up with an inflation bubble that's out of control, particularly when we've seen Jacob Cowing, a 4th-round pick, look pretty solid. He's not at Brandon Aiyuk's level, but he's looked solid. You can play with Jacob Cowing from week 1. Do you want to? Probably not. Do your Super Bowl hits take a chance? Absolutely. But can the guy play in the NFL? For sure. And now we're getting Ricky Pearsall back at practice this week for the 49ers. We don't know what Ricky Pearsall is going to be, but if he looks anything like he looked in rookie OTAs, mini camp, and in the practices that he has participated in at training camp, he's going to be the truth. He's really, really good. Again, he's not Brandon Aiyuk, but at some point you have to make sacrifices in a league that does have a hard cap. And for a team that's already paying a tremendous amount of players, top of the market. Brandon Aiyuk, is he a top of the market player? I think if he was allowed to hit the market, absolutely. Same way that Kirk Cousins is paid top of the market because he hits the market. Other guys don't hit the market because they're top players and teams won't let them test it. The fact that the 49ers have even just sort of dipped their toes into the market when it comes to Brandon Aiyuk. They've tossed him around in trades a little bit. They've allowed him to get offers from other teams. The fact that they're allowing him to do that they've allowed him to do that, tells you that they don't think that he is of that true upper echelon. So here's how this goes from here on out. In my estimation, just one man's opinion, Brandon Aiyuk's under contract. I think he plays on the 5th-year offer. The 49ers say, we're going to franchise tag you at the end of the year, but trust us, it's going to be okay. We're going to trade you at the end of the year. Because they've been entertaining the notion of trading him for the last couple of months, and their asking prices were too high, and they played themselves. The 49ers do deserve some scrutiny in all of this. They played themselves by asking for 2 first-round picks for Brandon Aiyuk, followed up by now a first-round pick for Brandon Aiyuk as the season has progressed. No one is giving up that kind of draft capital at this point in the season, and certainly not the teams that are willing to pay Brandon Aiyuk what he wants to be paid. It's a very complex situation, and it hasn't come together yet because we're just in a gray area when it comes to the term elite. Regardless, Brandon Aiyuk is under contract. He can be franchise tagged, and whatever the 49ers can get for Brandon Aiyuk today, they can certainly get for him at the end of the season, barring something catastrophic happening to Brandon Aiyuk, which of course no one wants to see, least of all Brandon Aiyuk. It's why he's going for all this money, and more credit to him. I think he'll get that money. I just don't think he's going to get that money with the San Francisco 49ers, and that will hurt their team in 2025. There's no question about it. But will it hurt as much as having to get rid of 2 or 3 or even 4 mid-tier players that will help your overall 53-man roster? That's debatable. It's something to figure out down the line. But with Ceedee Lamb coming in at just an absurd valuation for a guy who gets most of his targets from the slot, again, an outstanding player. But is he truly of the upper echelon when we're talking about playing the position of wide receiver? I don't think I can say that. The Dallas Cowboys have, and if I'm Brandon Aiyuk, I'm richer today because of what Ceedee Lamb did today, and ultimately I'm probably playing my final year for the San Francisco 49ers. We'll have a lot more breakdowns on this and a 53-man roster breakdown, Dieter and Hutch podcast Tuesday night. Looking forward to talking to you then.